Oh, as you can tell, I'm rather flustered, Pards, for being here.
I can tell, mate. It's hard getting out of these stadiums these days,
it really is, isn't it?
And you had to trawl over the bridge and backwards and forwards and anyway.
I was planning to leave a little bit early, but then obviously we got a penalty and all that, and my son was like, "We're not going anywhere."
No, you got to stay to the end. I mean, that's part of the process. But these games are so important, aren't they? So tight at the moment for Arsenal and Man City. They've both got over the line today. Both sort of had their moments of friction, but did the job.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it was an abysmal first half performance with Spurs. And it's just everything seemed to go wrong. It was just, and then when we got that, what I thought was the equaliser from Van der Ven, that was ruled out. It was probably a toe over the line again. It's just VAR, mate.
Sometimes when I watch these derbies, I don't want to sound like too old school, but there did seem to be a lack of tackling and a lack of come on, do you know that spirit that you used to get in the derbies? I know, we're playing a lot more football, there's a lot more passing, and there's a lot more intricacy in terms of the game. But I still personally, especially at set plays and that, you've got to go in there and defend for your life.
Yeah,
I didn't see enough of that going on.
I was going to say it, and for me today, Big Ange, I think, there's this discussion that he sometimes can get it wrong and be a bit naive when taking on teams. Now, Arsenal have the best defence in the Premier League. That's factual. The numbers don't lie. And then, you're allowing us to have all that space in behind open to allow the likes of Saka just to run in on Ben Davies. It's just, I think we've had a few people, and I've got a shout out to a fella called Pete, who's in the WhatsApp group I'm in, a Spurs fan. He's been saying it all season. That high line, and a lot of people have questioned it, and even before the game, a lot of people go, that high line, it's problematic. Now, Arteta just must have watched videos, and this as a manager yourself. Everyone knows how Spurs are going to play, how they're going to set up. Arsenal don't put men behind the ball normally. The only time they did that this season was at the Etihad and got a really good draw up there. But they've done it with us and went, okay, we'll just counter-attack you because we've got enough up there as well. I thought they were well organised in the first half, did their job, and they've just broken us. And we gifted them 3 goals.
Well, I wouldn't say you gifted them, but I know what you mean. The game plan of Arsenal, obviously, and like any team that goes to Spurs, if you're going to keep playing the same way, then the manager's going to come up with a solution. And actually, since the turn, I don't know, is it the last sort of 10, 12 games, Spurs' points total is dramatically reduced.
Yeah.
It was 2 points something at the start of the season, and it's down to sort of 1-6 or lower maybe. But, that is probably a reflection of people trying to combat this high press, this high line. Now, ironically, I was at Fulham yesterday, and the new manager of Crystal Palace is coming in, and he's playing a very, very aggressive game. High line, 3-4-3, pressing the ball, and it worked terrific yesterday. But at some point, people are going to work you out, and you got to have a plan B. Sometimes you got to have a plan C and D as well. But at the moment, Ange is very much sticking to plan A. His experience in the Premier League this year will teach him a lot. And I think over the summer, I don't think between now and the end of the year he's going to change course. But in the summer, I think he might reflect and come up with a strategy that has a bit more fluency in it in terms of changing. And I think that you only get that and the experience of the Premier League. Forget all the other leagues, Scottish Premier League, Dutch League, French League. Nothing is like the Premier League.
Yeah.
It's the world-class league, and you've got to be able to adapt.
Well, before I go over to Paul, the Spurs fan, on 03717223334, Leader Baggies texts us on 81089, said, Madge, I personally think Spurs were robbed by VAR, missed chances early on, shocking defending at the back, Maddison not good, Ange must play Son through the middle to run at players so he can assist and get goals. You can't play him up top where he's isolated and have his back to a goal to be easily marked. To be fair, he's right. I thought that Gabriel and Saliba had their slippers on in the first half because it was just so easy what we were doing to them. And they're such good defenders. That's easy to watch and defend.
But we said all year, didn't you, about your lack of pace really in wide areas. And it's only really Son when he goes wide, like at the end there at 3-2. He goes down the outside, didn't he? Put that cross in. That was probably your best moment for the 3-3.
And Brendan Johnson going on his right side on the right and actually taking them on.
Yeah, absolutely. But, I mean, Maddison's a concern since the injury. we looked at that stat. I think he's been subbed the last 9 games. That can't do his confidence any good. A player that actually is built around confidence. So the injury, the confidence, and getting taken off, that's all contributing to his perhaps below par performances.
Let's go over to Paul, who's a Spurs fan, joins us on the final word. Good evening, Paul.
Are you okay, mate? How's it going?
Oh, you know what? After that horrible journey back from the Spurs Stadium to talkSPORT HQ, I need a bit of therapy myself. So, Paul, and what went wrong for Spurs today?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, and Postecoglou, I picked the wrong team, especially in midfield. He left out Bissouma and Sarr, and he brought in Bentancur and Højbjerg, which is the wrong selection. But I mean, to me, Højbjerg was on today. He scored an own goal. He's tracking back. He's really, really poor. I mean, Bissouma and Sarr this year have been absolutely fantastic. Why he changed for, I would never, ever know.
Paul, I'll just come in there and say Bissouma and Sarr, both of them have actually been quite poor in recent times. And every time that Højbjerg had come on in recent weeks, he's actually shored it up a bit. I agree with you, though, today. Højbjerg, with the own goal, obviously, that was unlucky. It wasn't great. But when I saw that team sheet, I was actually quite pleased to see him drop Bissouma to the bench. But I must admit, when Sarr and Bissouma came on in the second half, it definitely changed it.
They're better, and also I think to me, right, and Postecoglou hasn't learned from set pieces, because I mean, when we played Everton early season, we can see 2 goals from set pieces, and Vicario, right, is really, really poor at set pieces. I mean, look at the Havertz goal. Havertz wasn't even marked, and a free-headed in the box. I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, Arsenal started like a train on fire. And we got absolutely hammered in the first 10 minutes of the game. I know he came back and scored 2 goals, but it's too late by then.
Yeah, no, you're right, Paul.
You know what I mean? I was so upset. I mean, to me, this game today was so hurtful, losing 3-2. I felt really bad. I felt really deep. I felt really sick, honestly.
Paul, I know that feeling. Thank you, Paul.
But the other issue you have, I know you struggle at set plays, but Arsenal I think they got the best record of set plays in the division.
Yeah,
they're actually very, very good. That near post quality delivery and the players
really
they
good.
got
But
attacking.
both of their deliveries, the one from Saka and the one for Rice, were quality.
Absolutely.
Really good. But the thing with Spurs is, under Conte, he brought in a set-piece specialist because we were bad either end. We weren't scoring
I think
any
you'll
goals
find
from
most
set-piece.
Premier League have got a set-piece specialist anyway.
I think Ange got rid of Conte's one because we have been woeful at set-pieces this season. Let's go to Julian. He's a Spurs fan. He was at the game as well. How are we, Julian?
Hello, chaps. Yeah, very well. How are you?
Oh, man, I don't know if it took you as long as me to get out of the stadium today. I thought I was going to miss my show. It took forever.
Yeah, do you know what? It's one of those ones where you stay right to the end, isn't it? Because obviously, I think we got pretty close to getting that third one. I mean, to be honest with you, look, do you know what it is, guys? I'm a bit frustrated about the whole thing, really, because number one, that's one of the 2 games that you want to win in the season, isn't it? The North London derby, but I just think that, we started the game really brightly, as you probably know. And I think, Alan, you were saying earlier on in the show about sort of feeling the mood in the stadium. And certainly the mood in the stadium in the first sort of 10, 15 minutes was we're going to give them a proper game. And I just feel that, you like refereeing, that's, the VAR decision against Van der Ven, I'm not sure. I looked at it really quickly on the train on the way home. It looked very tight to me.
It was very tight.
And
could have went either way.
Hair's breadth. It really was. Yeah.
You look at that and you think, this is a huge game for both clubs. One is fighting for the title. The other one's fighting for Champions League. It's both worth a lot of money. It's forget to put the money to one side. It's the bragging rights as well. But and then I think our reaction to that, I was in the North stand behind the goal. It looked like we could have, just after that, you had a penalty appeal against, not a penalty appeal, but Kulusevski goes down, then Maddison goes down. Players are looking at referee, Arsenal are getting them back on with the game, and it's like, shortly after that, ball goes over the top to Saka, who you put him in that situation, and there's only been one result, which obviously is what happened. He scored the goal, but I don't agree. Listening to the show on the way home, there's quite a lot of negativity angled towards Postecoglou. I think that, guys, I was on this show with you two not long ago, and I think it was after the I forget which game it was, sorry, but it was a few weeks ago, one of our last home games, and I think we just need to put it into context as to where we are. Forget North London derby today.
Julian, you bang on.
We're still fighting.
Julian, do you know what I said to someone? I said it to my son after the game. I said a couple of seasons ago on a Wednesday evening, we rolled Arsenal 3-0 to take the top 4 spot. And that was with Conte, and, we ended up getting to the Champions League that season. Now, this is an Arsenal team 5 years into a process with Arteta, who's getting closer and closer to winning the league, and buying players like Havertz and Declan Rice. You know, as a Spurs fan, you can doff the cap to Arsenal. They've been brilliant in this calendar season for sure, since they've come back from Dubai. At the end of the day, like you say, we just got to look at it and go, this is Big Ange, this is a building, they're building blocks, but this is Julian, why I've asked Pards, can you keep moving forward without this plan B? Let's go over to the phone lines at 03717 223344. Darren's an Arsenal fan, he joins us. Good evening, Darren.
Hello, mate, you all right?
Yeah, well, I'm not probably as good as you are after beating Spurs at their ground. But you know what? I did think this was going to happen, mate. You know, you've been on absolute fire, especially this calendar season since coming back from Dubai. And yet again today, I think it was a very assured Arsenal display, Darren.
Yeah, I think he was beaten before the game had even started. And the bell went into confidence, thinking he was going to turn you over. 3-0 down in the first half. You know what I mean? It's sort of like banking on penalties. VAR and this, that, and the other.
No, I wouldn't. Do you know what, Darren? I wouldn't say that because you know what? Whether or not you needed to or not, I don't think Arsenal even got out of second gear today, personally. But I just think, again, this is the issue that we're having with Big Ange and the tactics, because I think Arteta was smart. He played with men behind the ball, waited for the counter attack, and you know, other than the chances that you had, it wasn't like you was all over us. I've seen you absolutely batter us before, and that wasn't a battering. I just think it was just an assured performance, and the manager got it spot on, Darren.
Smart and calculated. At the end of the day, we're going to White Hart Lane. Obviously, you go there for the 3 point, and that's how you win the league. You grind results out like that. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So, at the end of the day, that's the only way you're going to turn it over. And that's why we've been challenging for the league for the last 2 seasons, and you've been struggling for the top 4. You know what I mean? So.
Well, again, you're 5 years into a process, and like when we beat you 3-0 when you had the top 4 in sights, you was a bit earlier into your process. So it's just the change. It's the changing of the guard, of course. And as I said, Arteta seems to be maturing a bit as a manager, Pards, because a lot of the times he goes into these things quite emotionally led. I thought he was calculated today.
Yeah, you have to say that, you know, that tag that unfortunately got put onto them by the media, you know, that they slipped up last year and they bottled it, or whatever word you want to use. They've not done that this year. They've been solid all year, you know, and the performances, let alone the results, have been terrific. So, you know, other than Man City, who we know are this machine that doesn't seem to lose or draw games, Arsenal can't do any more. And at the moment they look as assured as Man City. That's the greatest compliment I could pay him.
Absolutely. Just before we get to more of your calls, I believe we've got some audio from the Arsenal manager. Let's hear what the Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta made of the North London derby.
Happiness. I would describe with happiness. You're going to suffer. You come here, it's an unbelievable stadium, great atmosphere, a great team. You're going to suffer. You want to win here, be ready to suffer. When you want big things, you have to be able to navigate through these emotions and these disappointments sometimes throughout the game. But at the end, the team find a way to win it and showed a lot of courage, especially the players that were involved in certain mistakes to do what they've done.
Mikel, you've talked about how difficult it is to come here. You're the first Arsenal manager to win back-to-back games at Tottenham since George Graham in the 1980s. Does that give you a personal sense of pride?
Yes, for sure, and thank you so much for everybody at the club for giving me the chance to do that, for all the staff because the contribution is huge, and for sure the players because at the end it's the ones that win the games for you.
Does this also feel like a significant hurdle that you've overcome, bearing in mind the rivalry and how much Tottenham would have wanted to stop your title charge?
For me, it's as well. When you have, we are so lucky to have the possibility to make people happy, and I know what it means to all our supporters. So I'm sure they're going to enjoy the evening, and we can contribute a bit of that. That's great.
That was the Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta speaking to talkSPORT's Alex Crook there. You know, there's a word that he said which made me think. He said, "Thank you to everyone at the club for giving me the chance." That's the key word there, because a lot of Arsenal fans used to ring up talkSPORT wanting him out, and they forget that. I don't, because I was on here taking their calls. I want him out, don't trust the process. That shows in this period of time from 2019 when he came in to take charge to now 24, he's got his team settled. They're absolutely firing. They're playing the way he wants, and the team are maturing with him. And I think that's
and he's got a very young team. You know, this team isn't going away. This team is going to be around for the next 2, 3, 4 years, whatever. Probably with Arteta on board as well, because obviously he's created it. But you know, the one thing I would say, particularly since I would say when he got criticised for being a bit too outlandish on the sideline, he's obviously taken that on board and reined himself in
a little bit.
But it's important to do that. And you know, and he's showing a maturity in his management, and that I haven't seen before, if I'm honest. And the players perform terrific, and that's, you know, all the Arsenal ex-players, they're all taking pride in this new side, and that's what happens when you get a team that is, you know, ticking all the boxes: character, set play goals, open play goals, defending well, you know, keeping possession, dominating games, suffering, but suffering in an intelligent way. And that was the point he was making there. You have to suffer when you go away from home. All teams do. But it's about how you suffer. Can you cope with it? Can you stay calm? And Raya had that moment today, you know, where he tries to chip one over the striker's head, you know, as if he's going to chip it into midfield. I mean, like, hold on a minute. That was the moment that the game shifted, wasn't it?
Yeah.
From an assured, complete performance to suddenly,
questions.
And that's what happens on a run-in. You get one player do something like that, and you've got to be able to react. They just got away with it today.
Let's go over to Lee, who's an Arsenal fan. He was at the game today. Good evening, Lee.
Hello, lads. How you doing?
Yeah, not so bad. We were just talking about Ray, and that was a bit of a bad mistake, wasn't it, Lee?
Yeah, 28 minutes ago, it's a bit squeaky. To be fair, we was just going 30 minutes ago. You're thinking 3-0. We'll get out to the end, and mistakes like that can cost you, you know. And we was lucky to get away with 3-2. But yeah, the point I made to your lad who answered the phone, that style of football now, playing out from the back, it's risk to rewards. And we've scored so many goals this year, and playing out from the back, inviting the pressure on, playing through the line, and at some point, it's going to happen where you get close.
I think it's gone. Oh no, he's back.
You know?
Yeah,
we lost you for a second, Lee.
Yeah. No, he got caught between two minds. And listen, it just happens. And then after that, you know, I thought he was immense. Tottenham were throwing balls in the box. He probably dealt with 3 or 4 really challenging balls. And
he happens to be very, very good on crosses, doesn't he? You know, he comes out and claims into areas that other goalies don't really want to go into. You're right, he took a lot of pressure off the team after that.
Yeah, it just takes the pressure off the back four, you know. Now we move into the last 3 games, hoping that City can drop some points somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a title run-in, it can happen, trust me.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Lee. Don't forget 03717 22 3344.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.